Well, greetings and salutations. Tonight we are broadcasting once again live from the Apocalypse Cabin, somewhere in the mountains of Pennsylvania. So tonight we're going to get to unpack a great mystery, and that is the mystery of the Coral Castle. Did a 100-pound man by himself build this huge monolithic structure? Now, there's been all kinds of speculation, conspiracy theories, rumors that he had some sort of anti-gravity device. After all, that's the only way he could have been lifting these multi-ton blocks of stone so high. I've followed this story of Coral Castle, and it is now a museum that you could visit and see it for yourself. It's quite a sight to behold. And we will share some images while we discuss this. But I looked into these rumors and conspiracies and speculation concerning all the, Egypt technology, lost technology that he used to build this thing, and, ultrasonic levitation device that he must have had, a magnetic levitation device. There's been all kinds of claims and rumors. So I thought we could bring somebody who's already looked into it thoroughly, and that is Smoke King on as a special guest. But tonight we're getting a extra special guest in the form of both the guys from Paranormal Hood. Both Jiggy and Smoke King are coming in. So here we go. And appropriately, oh wait, let's do that. There we get Jiggy too. We got the wide shot. I guess this is the first blunt.
For the show.
Since 10 p.m. this is the first blunt then.
Yeah.
Well, good for you. So I've looked into this thing for a while. I thought we could start with sharing. There's a website I could share. Let me get that tab. And it's for the Coral Castle Museum. And I guess because of COVID, Coral Castle is closed until further notice. But I like the text on their website. If you had visited Coral Castle in the 1940s, you would have been greeted enthusiastically by a man weighing a mere 100 pounds and standing just over 5 feet tall. He would have asked you for 10 cents admission and introduced you to his fantasy work. As you moved around the sculpture garden in stone, and the significance of each piece was explained, you would have been witness to the great pride. It's, oh geez, I'm having a hard time with this website. In his work, I guess, yeah. Sorry, I can't make out this. Let me see if I can highlight it. No, can't see. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Sorry, guys. Oh, it's okay. So you can visit Coral Castle today and see these monumental structures. And here's a little bit about each of them. It's a huge stone garden, but then there's also like a castle portion built out of these huge blocks of stone, all perfectly put in place. And so there's been this major speculation that this guy could not have done this by himself. What have you found about this, or what do you think about this, Smoke King? The rumors that he couldn't have done it by himself.
Well, because he didn't do it by himself. If you want to go back into that website there, and go to the
oh sure,
go to like the merchandise section. And go to books. There's a written by Orville. Can't remember his last name. We'll bring it up in a second. And Orville was neighbor, and Orville also owned a construction company.
So he could have got cranes and stuff then, right?
And so wrote this book, and it tells them all about how he helped. Ed did do a good majority of the work himself. Ed Leeds Gallion, he was a brilliant man. He came from over here from this country. His family background was loggers on one side of the family and stonemasons on the other. So he knew all this stuff. But so Ed had help as much as people want to say he didn't have help and everything like that, he had some help when he needed. Coral Castle today is not the original location of Coral Castle. It was actually moved halfway through the build, or about maybe close to halfway through the build, because
Wait, so how did they move all of this? They moved
Orville,
it all and reassembled it?
Yeah, Orville tells how he helped them do it all in the book and everything. There's actually pictures and stuff in the book. If I remember correctly, I haven't seen the book for a long time, but yes, there should be pictures in the book. But you have to order it and everything and get it. The only way you get it through is the website there. So, and even the Coral Castle Museum people, they portray the whole mystery and stuff. Yet they sell this book that explains how everything happened. So the first location.
It's such a mystery. Buy the book.
Yep.
We'll tell you exactly how we did it.
But so he started out at the first location building, this stone structure and everything, and somebody bought the land next to him to build condos and stuff, and he didn't want that. So he had that with the help of his neighbor and everything, who had all this construction equipment and the trucks to move it all, and he helped him actually put it all on the equipment and move it to the location where it is today. And it was originally named.
This one is called the 30-ton stone. Is that really 30 tons?
I believe it is. That one is probably I believe it's the heaviest one there. And it is 30 tons. And yeah, that one was used lifted. The heaviest stones were used with machinery and stuff like that, excavators, cranes and stuff like that Orville had, and that helped him put it up there. But again, so that's, he didn't build it himself. Again, the majority of it, the work he did do himself, but there was things where moving it from one place a few miles up the road to another place required, you know what I mean? People would have seen somebody levitating stones down the fucking middle of the fucking highway to the new location. You know what I mean? If this was the case,
I didn't know that they ever moved it. Exactly. That's crazy. The whole thing. I never knew that they moved it. And I've read some articles about this thing. Yeah.
Is if you read this book that you can only get on the Coral Castle website now. It used to be available on a few other places, but now the only place I can find it now is on their website. So yeah, their first page says, oh, it's a mystery and all this stuff. This 100-pound man did all this work himself and stuff. Yet then you go to their merchandise thing and they sell the book, and it explains how he didn't do it all himself. And,
this is actually such a letdown. I was waiting for the Atlantean technology, Smoke King, and the fucking ancient Egyptian method of floating 30-ton stones and shit. But what about the quarrying of all this stuff? Like, where did he get all the stone?
It was built on top of both sites were actually where coral, rock ledge or whatever and stuff. So he was able to mine it there. That's the other thing that most people don't realize, because where it is today, outside of it, there took the stone from. But if you look at that spot, there's not enough stone taken out of that spot to be the whole entire Coral Castle.
Oh, so he had to get stones. It's only the stone, right? Like trucked in.
Well, no, it's because most of it, the stone came from the original location.
Oh, okay.
So he brought it over from the original location, and then whatever he needed left to finish it is what he cut there. So there's only about the last half or third of it, however much he had to finish of it, is you can see where he cut it out and everything like that. So, and in the book, it also explains how he was able to do the majority of the work himself. I
guess because the music. Oh no, here they do have the store. I was looking for the actual. Oh yeah, I was looking for the title of the book. So if anybody, the story and the word that I couldn't get because the text was too small is this man's name, Ed Leedskalnin. Leedskalnin. Okay,
yeah,
there you go. That's a tough one to pronounce.
He was Latvian or something like that, from Latvia, I believe it is.
So it's Coral Castle, the story of Ed Leedskalnin and his American Stonehenge by Rusty McClure and Jeff Heffron.
No, it's down a little bit more. It's one.
Okay, so they have multiple books, and this one.
Yeah, there's multiple books. Those ones go off of the myth and the legends and everything like that. The one that you want to see, I think it's Mr. Right Can't Wrong is Dead or something like that, or Mr.
Can't is Dead by Orville.
Yeah.
All right, we're gonna share that. Hold on, now that I got it. Yeah, so for this,
it doesn't give that's the funny thing. It doesn't give you a great description of the book. You actually have to get the book and read the book to actually know what it is, because again, the Coral Castle Museum wants it to be a big secret. They want people to go there and everything like that.
Mr. King is dead. Yeah. So
Yep.
for just $18.95.
Because that's what Orville thought of this guy. This guy can't. There's nothing he can't do. He's Mr. Can't. You can't. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in that book, it also explains,
no matter how they built this thing, it's still an interesting place and like an amazing kind of a project. Yeah.
He did do the majority of it himself, and it explains in there how he did the majority of it himself. It explains how the machine worked and everything. It also shows. I can show you how it works because a replica that I've seen, me and Jiggy have seen in person, seen it working. He's the one who actually, where I found out all this stuff and everything like that.
Yeah, interesting that they have all these books for sale about, and then in one of them they spilled the beans. That's interesting to me.
So yeah, you got all these rumors that the machine, the flywheel machine, his Sweet 16, the machine that's up in his little workshop, his little sleeping area up in the castle there and stuff, it was made noises to levitate, and that's not what it is at all. And my friend Scott, he's the one, before I even knew about the Orville book and stuff, he's the one, he figured this out because he's an electrical engineer on a nuclear submarine. Okay, so he knows a little bit about electrical stuff, and he said anybody who's into electronics and stuff like that would know when you look at that, it's a PMH, a permanent magnet holder. Okay, and all it does is once it starts spinning and stuff, it will just keep spinning because the magnets, they just keep the way that it's set up, they're off pulled, and it will just keep pushing itself around. So that machine, Ed figured this out back then, because you got to remember, he was building this thing in like the 30s and stuff or whatever it was, long time ago. He would use that, and that would go around, and it had relays on it. And as it would go around, it would hit the relay. Every time the magnet would go around, it would send a little signal and a relay, and he had a bank of batteries, and that would one relay would go on a wire, and it would send it over to the mist saw that was cutting the coral back and forth. He didn't even have to be there. He just had to set it up. He had the steel door. There's a steel door there that has some numbers and stuff.
Yeah. So wait. What? Slow down. So what was he cutting this? He was cutting the stone with the machine then.
With the machine, yeah. He used machines to cut it and stuff all by himself. He had this machine, the flywheel machine set up in the castle there. That would set up. He could set up the machines to do what he wanted to do. He would go and turn this flywheel, and then he could go to sleep. He didn't even have to really do anything. Get up and check on things once in a while. Yeah, I guess
it could take 12 hours to cut through some of that stuff, right?
Yeah, it could take a long time. So he had, like I said, he had one. So the Sweet 16, the magnetic wheel and stuff that he had and stuff. We'll show some video of it in a little bit and of how it works. So it had little relays and stuff, and it had a bank of batteries would have charged up, sending an electrical signal. So every time the magnet got to that relay, it would send a charge down to the hit and miss saw. So the saw would go every time this spins around, the saw was going. But then he had another relay going over to a chisel with a slug chisel, you know what I mean? And like a little hammer chisel. So every time the thing would run out, it'd go and it would start chiseling, and it would chisel a hole down because that's where it would be breaking out something next. So he had all these different things set up, and this machine was running them all. And that's how he did it. And like I said, my friend Scott Russell, his YouTube channel is made by one man. He's the one who when I was looking into all this, I found him first, and then I found out about the book, and I told him about the book after, about how it was moved and stuff. He hadn't figured that part out yet, but he figured out that Ed's machine, his flywheel, that machine that's up in the house that's still there, and that's not the only one there is. That's the final one that he used.
The thing that's weird to me is like the one is 30-ton stone. You can put that on a flatbed, a 30-ton stone.
Yeah, you can move some pretty big stones. Most of the Ed's moving of the stones, I guess he could move up to a 20-ton stone with a tripod. If you want to show, there's a video, the first video I sent to you. If you want to play that video real quick, start it from about maybe 10 seconds in. And you can play about only like the first minute, so you don't get the YouTube copyright strikes.
Well, we could stop every once in a while too. Let me get it up on my screen first, and then we'll share it.
If you send them to his Twitter.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, this is like old news footage, so I can share that. 1 second.
Steve, I'm going to DM clips that we actually have when we were up in Vermont.
I'm having trouble hearing you, Smoke King. Hold on.
Well,
yeah, I'm sorry.
Jiggy's gonna DM you some stuff, some clips from when we were in Vermont at Scott's house, and we were
cool.
actually
Yeah. Well,
we
let
could
me
see this
get
stuff
this
working.
Yeah,
but show this video here. This is actually, and this is the other thing about this. They show, people say, oh, there's no evidence of how he did this and stuff. This is going to be what he's going to show you guys here is news footage from back in the day. An actual news crew went there and they watched Ed working for the day. Okay, and they show all this and stuff.
Yeah, this is all great. This is great. And let me get my fair use.
And like, you can't deny this. Like how people still deny it after watching this. I can't believe it. So.
So we're going to cite fair use. This is transformative work. We're discussing and critiquing. We're educating the public. This is fair use, friends.
An echo from some ancient Stone Age is the work of Ed Leedskalnin.
All right, if you pause right there for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Now what they just showed was
huge tripod, right?
What they just showed was huge tripods, and now he has block and tackle pulleys and everything like that. And this is how he moved it. Okay. Like I said, look at that stone that's right underneath that tripod right there. That thing's going to be at least 10 tons. My buddy Scott, and Jiggy's going to send you the video clips we can play after. He had tripods. He made these tripods, and he could move. He didn't have any 10-ton stones, but he was moving up to 5-ton stones, no problem with these tripods. And that's how he did it. This is the secrets, because Ed always used to joke around and said, I used the secrets of the Egyptians. This is the secrets that he used. These are old world stone moving and
the secrets of the Egyptians. Yeah,
this is how the Egyptians moved it. They used stuff
rollers
like this.
And tripods, right?
Rollers and tripods. They used the tripod to pull it up out of there. They put it on log
Jiggy,
rollers.
They had to have help from. They had to have help from aliens too, though, right?
And this guy's doing it all by hand. Now, Egypt, they had 20,000 people working on it. Now, just think, this guy, one guy, did all this. Now, that's how the pyramids were built. The same methods.
Yeah, but they had 20,000 slave.
Yeah, they had 20,000 workers cutting more block and stuff faster. That's why it's a bigger structure and everything. You know what I mean? Millions of blocks, and so they were able to do it and stuff. And they did it without. This guy had, electricity and power tools and stuff. Primitive. I mean, it was early days of electricity and stuff and tools like that. But, so yeah, you can play the video now. You can show.
Yeah, maybe it's just because I've never had to cut a stone in my life, but isn't this coral stone easier to cut?
The coral, they call it oolite. It's really easy stuff to cut. So this was a lot, like I said, it was a lot easier than the Egyptians cutting granite and stuff that they were cutting. Well, a lot of the Egyptian is limestone. Only outer stuff was granite, and special things was granite. So the limestone's easy to cut too. With primitive, basic bronze, copper tools and stuff like that, you can cut limestone, no problem.
Yeah, I seen a demonstration online of somebody, because people say they couldn't have cut that with a copper tool, and somebody made a copper tool and cut it. So
yeah, like I said, the oolite, they call it, is just as similar, as just as soft as sandstone and limestone and stuff like that.
Well, let's get a little further into the video here. We see the cranes.
Using but the most primitive of tools, he handles huge 15-ton pieces of coral rock with the greatest of ease.
15-ton block right there.
Building a great stone city that he hopes will stand for thousands of years. He works as the ancient Egyptians did when they built the pyramids.
Yeah, here we have rollers, pulleys.
Yep, logs. That's it. He's getting. You see, now he has come-alongs. The Egyptians used manpower.
The 4-ton rock that serves as an entrance gate is so nicely balanced, a slight push will move it. But
yeah, that's
only
interesting.
The first of many wonders to be found in this strange place.
That's quite a door.
Yep. All right, you can stop it now. It's just going to show people hanging out there and everything like that and stuff. So it's the beginning. And now this is back then. These people understood this back then, that the Egyptian pyramids weren't a mystery. The reporter guy who's here doing this news story was saying he uses the technology, the ways of the ancient Egyptians and stuff, because they've known this for a long time. They use fucking tripods. They use log sleds and stuff on log rollers and stuff. It's all, this is This is how people used to do things before we had technology, and we've forgotten the old ways of woodworking and stoneworking and everything. These are some of the oldest trades in the existence of humans. You know what I mean? Outside of gathering food and hunting, then you started woodworking, stoneworking. You know,
Yeah.
Jesus was a
Yeah.
so
Well, I sure gotta get a education in some of that ancient working
so
with hand
Ed
tools
was
and stuff here. So
yeah, exactly. Like, look at what you build in there and everything. So Ed was ahead of his time. He knew the old ways of working because it was from his family before he came over here. Like I said, they were stonemasons over in the old country, and they were loggers and everything. So he knew how to move big, huge things, cut stone and everything like that in the olden ways. And then he came over here where we had machines and stuff, and we had electricity and a lot of stuff that they didn't have in the old country when he was there. So he comes here, and he was a very smart man. He was into electronics, all kinds of stuff. He could take anything apart, put it back together and stuff. So he figured this stuff out. He's like, wow, I could make this machine here, and it will do the most of my work for me, and I can build this amazing structure and everything all pretty much by myself. He, like I said, he had a lot of help. He got the help moving it and stuff, and some help with some of the bigger stuff, setting it in and everything. And there is stuff that is concreted in and everything like that. You can't see it. He did it so you couldn't see it, but there is stuff that is concreted in, so it's not just not everything is freestanding and stuff. But yeah, so that book explains what everything is in there, why the bathtub has 2 different levels to it and stuff like that. And I forgot
the
exactly
bathtub has 2 different
he has
levels?
a bathtub in there, and it's kind of like a sauna and stuff because the way the sun hits it and everything, and it heats it up and stuff at different times of year. And I believe it's in the summertime, he has more water so it doesn't get too hot. And that's why it's got the higher level. And then in wintertime, when it's cooler or whatever, it's lower, so that it heats up faster because it's less water and stuff. It doesn't get as hot in the wintertime. It's something to do
So
with
it
that.
sounds
But
like this guy's like a crazy science geek engineer
crazy
type. Yeah.
original geeky nerdy type fucking guy and everything. You know, he blended the old world with the new world and was able to do all this stuff. He had the idea, you know, he knew how to move the stone and stuff. And then he's like, wait a minute, I don't need a whole team of people to do it because they have these machines here in fucking America and everything that I can hook it up and I could do it all myself.
Yeah,
and he did.
That's pretty interesting.
Pretty much did. Like I said, moving the stuff to the other site, that took a bit, and some of the larger stones, standing it up and getting up, because he couldn't, there's no trees big enough that he could get to build tripods high enough to get some of the stones up to the higher places where he got them. That's why he used his friend, helped him to get them up.
Yeah, I can imagine what you could do with some of the big gear, because like my neighbor here just has a Bobcat, and like I can't believe the amount of stuff that you could do with that thing. Like,
Bobcat,
he had to remortar like a fireplace way high up in the fireplace, like on the second floor of the house, and he just lifted that thing up, with all the materials, and climbed up and mortar. And that's just a Bobcat, like the smallest of heavy, machines, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
So this guy who was his friend would have had access to even bigger toys.
Yeah, he was
front
like
end loaders,
construction
back end
company and stuff like that.
backhoes.
So, yeah, whatever type of equipment they had back then, because I mean, this is early days of that stuff too. You got to remember that too.
Backhoes and that.
Yeah,
kind
they
of
still
stuff.
had backhoes. They're nothing like what we have today, but he was still able to help Ed do the stuff that Ed wasn't able to do with the tripods and the tech that he had. So
yeah, well, that's interesting though, because that connection's interesting, because the story's always kind of been like this guy, one man, built this thing. Yeah, one man with access to incredible resources. So it's not quite as impressive once you realize the resources he may have had.
Again, he did use machines. Like he had the hit and miss saw. He had the kind of the jackhammer. The hammer thing that he would use to chisel and stuff like that. He had his tools that he made, but moving it did take trucks and heavy equipment to move what he had already started down to the next location and everything once it was set up and everything. And then some of it setting it up and everything, he had to have help with it. So, but the majority of it, yes, it was built by this one man and his ingenuity of knowing how to use these machines and everything like that and get everything to work and, with just him. So.
And you sent me another video, which is a guy doing sort of a recreation of this tripod setup, right? And
yeah, Yeah,
Yeah.
well, this is the one. This is actually from. That's my friend Scott Russell, in Vermont, and he's the guy. He was a
Yeah, we got to share
electrical.
this because this is amazing.
He's an electrical engineer on a nuclear submarine for like 20 years. I mean, the guy ran the thing basically. He's a brilliant guy. I mean, he's fucking amazing. And then once he heard of the
Yeah,
story,
and this video is great because it's like mystery solved, and then
and
he
you can
shows
play
how.
this and stuff. No copyright on this. He doesn't mind if you play it. You
Okay,
guys can
good.
go
Well, we're
watch
still
the
going to
whole thing
cite
later
we're
on.
still going to cite fair use, and we'll put.
Yep, we can do that.
We can,
And
I'll put the link in the description here so people can
because
watch the
he's
whole
got
thing.
the electrical background and everything. As soon as he saw that Ed's flywheel up in his shack up in the castle there, he knew right away what it was, and he set to recreating it to prove that's what it was. And this is the video of him showing what he did and everything. Hold on,
Yeah,
I can
one
show
second.
you.
I'm gonna get that. I screwed up though, and I
Once you
wasn't
get
sharing
that
the
up, I
audio.
can tell
Hold
you
on.
some time points to jump to.
Well, I think I got it. Okay, one second. Here we go. Yeah, share audio. I always forget to do that. There we go. So
If you go to the first one in 6 minutes and 5 seconds.
It's not hard, really. The secret is knowing how.
well, here we see the flywheel.
Diameter of
Yep.
folding slack.
See, that's my buddy Scott up in Vermont, and that's the small tripod. He has a bigger one. This is he used a small tripod.
Looping to the top of
They used a small tripod to set up the bigger tripod.
That's interesting.
I climbed that tripod right there.
You can erect a large tripod this way. Once this step is performed, probably a max of 20 feet for stage 2, a third much larger 35 to 40 foot tripod can be erected. It will be done in exactly the same way as stage 1 to stage 2. You will now go from stage 2 to stage 3.
So this guy's just hanging out in his backyard recreating this, huh?
Hoists,
yeah,
and come-alongs accordingly to the much larger size.
He spent like 3 years working on this.
That's pretty interesting.
Final tripod, a shackle can be pre-assembled on the ground to provide a flat and reliable anchoring point on the top. This will be lifted in the same way just described.
I don't know why he wouldn't be able to.
Oh, and then he's going to show us how he quarried it.
Technique.
Yep.
Coral limestone can easily be cut with a wood saw by hand.
Wow.
It can also be cut with a machine doing the work. To do this, you need a large cutting edge. At the museum today, there's a giant iron door that has a 16-pointed sun drawn on the face of it. This large iron door was used to cut the blocks. Position the newly erected tripod over the area to be cut and quarried. This is accomplished by using the wheelbarrow-looking apparatus at the museum today. This homemade counterbalanced contraption is actually a tripod.
He made one.
Lifting gun.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
This is all off of pictures. He's never even been to Coral Castle.
The walking of the large tripod.
That's pretty
1 foot
interesting.
at a time with minimal effort. Now, gather the iron plate, the hit and miss reciprocation engine, a locomotion attachment, a plate clevis or chain, and a simple 6-foot stone chisel to break away the small chunks. Anchor the engine to the ground and assemble all the pieces for cutting. Lay out the first block pattern and start cutting
this is
in
so
pairs
like
of incisions
so detailed.
6 to 8 inches apart. Make the first 2 cuts in about a foot or so, then break out the pieces and repeat to the desired depth. Then reorient the giant blade to cut all the required incisions as indicated by the diagram, breaking out the small pieces as you go. Keep the rubble for wall filler later.
All right. If you
That's
go
pretty
to like
interesting.
go to about 13 minutes and 13 and a half minutes. Yeah, right around here. Yep, right here, the wheel.
Okay.
Now here's how the machine works. A few batteries in the system reside inside the wheelhouse. Some of their current will turn the wheel, which is a giant variable speed rotary switch. There is a unit called a PMH that is actually the DC motor's field stator that magnetically pulses the wheel around in one direction. This in turn makes and breaks an electrical contact. This electrical contact is mounted to a follower that rides on the four-leaf clover cam lobes. This sends a signal from the same battery bank out to all the tripods on a third positive wire. To summarize the machine's totality, when that pulse of battery voltage is sent out on the grid's third wire, it picks up a small relay like that of a car horn. When that small relay pulls in, it makes a larger contact, sending bigger, more local battery current down the tripod and into the actuating solenoid.
This is crazy.
This solenoid pulls back an iron drive shaft or any other type of iron slug, and then a spring.
And it's crazy that this guy rebuilt all this stuff.
Switch drops out again.
Yeah.
There can be multiple actuators cutting at the same time to really accomplish a lot.
So that basically right there, it's just showing it all. I mean, if people want, we can link the video and stuff for everybody. They can go and watch.
Yeah, you should watch this whole thing if you're interested. This is just a crazy rabbit hole. This is a crazy fucking rabbit hole.
It does help out Scott a lot and everything like that.
Yeah, we'll post a link. This is amazing that he did all this.
Yeah, like I said, it took him a few years.
And I never knew that you can cut coral rock with just a hand wood saw. That's amazing. I never knew that.
And he figured all this out and built this stuff all off of pictures of Coral Castle. He has never been to Coral Castle yet.
Misunderstood part of this mystery.
He saw that wheel in Coral Castle and he knew what to do.
All through the years, there's a legend about a girl. I would never attempt to disclaim that.
Oh, yeah. So the legend is that he built this whole place for a girl, right? It was like unrequited love.
We don't know if that's just, there's no
even in oral,
it doesn't really mention a girl or anything and why Ed was doing it. It was just,
I'm sure I've heard that.
It was, that's what the legend is, that he did this for a girl out of love for a girl, and he, hoping that she would come back and live there with him or something like that. But I think that's just a story, a legend. He might have had a girlfriend at one point, but in the Orville book, he doesn't really mention any girls, Ed, with anybody like having a girlfriend or talking about a girlfriend. So he just said that Ed had a love for doing this type of stuff, and he wanted to just build this thing, and that's what he wanted to do, basically. So the girl thing, again, I don't know. He might have had a girlfriend that he broken heart, and he did this, but so that's what Scott was trying to do was trying to figure out the whole mystery and trying to solve as much of it as he can and stuff. What people say, how it was done, and all this, because he talks about how Ed would sing, so people thought he was singing to the rocks and stuff. What are you going to do when you're sitting there working for fucking 12 hours a day and you got machines that
I gotta have a radio. As Amish as I like to get down here building crazy shit, I gotta have a radio or something. Yeah, you got the beat of these machines going and stuff, so you just start singing and stuff and making up songs, doing whatever and everything like that. He also figured, and anybody who's been to Florida or worked in Florida knows, when's the best time to work in Florida? At night. Because people like, oh, he did it, he built it at night, so nobody would know and nobody could see it, anything like that. And no, he built it at night because he was smart. He had to work most of the time during the day. He had other little odd jobs and stuff that he did, so he did that. But at night, it's cooler in Florida. Yeah, so
you're not going to get as hot and everything like that. Plus, he would set the machines up and he could go to sleep. His batteries would.
I always liked Florida at night because, like, during the day it is hot and muggy as shit, but at night it seems like the sun goes down, you get a cool breeze going, and it's very nice.
It just makes perfect sense to work there at night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so, you don't want to be out in the Florida sun trying to move heavy shit.
And then we've already watched the video about, as far as him never showing anybody what he did and everything like that. He let a whole entire news crew go there and see after it. That was after they moved.
Well, that's part of the legend is this secretive guy that lives by himself. He's all isolated and he's in here building this crazy thing. But yeah, he sought publicity for it, right? Well,
yeah, he wanted people to know that. And he was still building it, and he was allowing people to come there and have picnics and stuff. As you see in the video, the news crew was there as he was, because the news crew found out this crazy guy built this thing, and then he moved it. So this was after the move. They had come there after it was up, and he had people who were already going there and seeing it and stuff, and he was still working on things and stuff. That's why they were able to see him working on some of it when the news crew was there.
People just hanging out there having a picnic.
Yep.
That's pretty crazy. And a big rocking chair made out of rocks.
Kids used to go and watch him working and stuff like that, you know. It's just another one of these urban legends, urban myths and stuff like that. And again, Ed would say himself that I use the magic of the Egyptians and stuff like that, or the ways of the Egyptians, because he did.
That's interesting. You're here. I'm going to mute this.
You know what I mean? But some people are like, oh, wow. I mean, you know.
I think that was the well down there.
Yeah, that's the well, aka bathtub and stuff. There's a whole like time dial, sun dial, like clock thing.
Yeah, here's the bathtub. This chick's getting down in it. That's so funny.
The sundial thing, it shows all of like, I forget what it is, all the seasons, and it's a crazy. It's not your regular sundial that just tells you the time and stuff. It tells you the time of the year and everything like that too.
Yeah, it's
the way
also
that
a solar calendar. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like a solar calendar and everything, and I forget all the stuff that it does and stuff. It's fucking insane.
Well, if nothing else, this guy was still amazing for figuring out how to do all this shit and getting this.
He wrote his own books. He wrote 3 books himself. One about magnets, one about some other thing, and here I forget what it is. Yeah, it's about electronic and magnetic currents and stuff like that, and some of his weird, crazy ideas. So.
Yeah, and Six Design is sharing your YouTube channel. If anybody, I think everybody already subscribed to you, but if not, make sure that you guys go and check out Paranormal Hood. It's every Thursday night. I try to be there, but sometimes, Jiggy, I get on CPT and I don't make it, so I have to catch the replay. But yeah. Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, I can barely hear you really low. Let's see if we have any. Yeah.
Well, your mic's not all the way up like as mine.
Maybe that's what it is. Yeah. Oh, there was a moon dial. Somebody said. Hold on.
I mean, I can hear you pretty good.
Did you know there was a moon dial? Yeah, and Ellen Fox shared some pictures of her.
Yeah, there's a moon dial and a sundial thing. Like I said, it shows the whole procession of the sun and the moon at the different times of the year and stuff. And it's inscribed on this bowl that it goes around, and it shows the pattern, how it makes like this weird figure 8 pattern that goes around it. And at the time of the day, you can tell where it is on the line, what time of the day is, and count over the lines and stuff and see what day of the year it is and everything by these lines, spiral lines that go all the way around it.
Oh, that's pretty crazy. So he's got a sundial that tells the time and the calendar, sun calendar, and he's got a moon dial as well. It shows you the phase of the moon. Jesus, man, this guy was a crazy, weird genius. I like that. I like crazy, weird geniuses, man. You know, there's just something interesting about guys like that. Just go off and create stuff like that. Okay, let me see. Oh yeah, there is some new people here. Good to see that there's some new people. Yeah, and Ellen says it was a separate dial used for each. So if you have any questions or comments in the live chat, please put them in all caps. That really helps. Somebody said they couldn't hear you in the live chat as well, Jiggy. But
can you hear me now?
There you go. Now you got that strong black man voice.
There you go.
Before I heard,
that was the weed. Steven, I sent you some video and some pictures on Twitter, which are actually like live videos and pictures we actually took when we were up in Vermont the last time. So those are recent stuff where you actually see the PMH and mostly you see the tripods and stuff that he actually has on the property there.
Did you send them in DM and Twitter? I don't see that.
No, for some reason I had to send them to you live on Twitter, so they're just tweets. But I couldn't send them DM.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, so everybody can actually look at them too.
If I look in my notifications, I should be able to find these, right?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, I got them. I'll just share my Twitter.
Yeah,
It's
so everybody can go look
it's
at
all my
those.
notification feed. There we go.
We had video of Smoke King actually climbing one of the tripods, but this is when Instagram first did those live, whatever you call them, stories. So I didn't know they only lasted for 24 hours. I didn't know how to say
Yeah, when they first came out, they only lasted 24 hours. It was weird.
That's interesting. Let me get rid of this one banner. There we go. And go back to the...
Yeah, and folks, if you actually
and
look
there's
at
a 1961 film, Nude on the Moon, was shot in Coral Castle. That's interesting. Nude on the Moon. Then we'll go see some of these other pictures that you sent me. These are of the tripods on this property. Tripod up close. That's very interesting.
And you'll see the videos of him with the PMH actually running for us, which he hooked up the car batteries, which is exactly the same stuff that Ed was doing and using for power sources and stuff. Old headlights from car and things. A lot of stuff from scrap.
I love this guy. I love both of them. I love the recreator guy for figuring this shit out and the original for figuring this shit out and doing
Steven,
it.
you would love
crazy.
he lives in a little cabin that he built himself on his fucking property up in Vermont. Out in the
my kind of guy
that he uses to generate power sometimes. He's got solar panels. He's completely off the grid.
Yeah, you know what's interesting here is that we have power because that was the only thing that the locals could provide. You know what I mean? And I know I'd be building the cabin, so we have a backup solar system here. And I got a wind turbine in a box that I never hooked up.
Oh, he's got the wind turbine too.
Yeah, and I got a bunch of batteries, and like somebody gave me a bunch of golf cart batteries that I reconditioned because the batteries are the most expensive part of a solar setup. It's really crazy expensive. Let's take a look at this guy showing this crazy machine.
That's me and him.
Oh, okay, there you go. That's so amazing. Amazing. Let's see what is it. Oh yeah, there's other. You guys got another video.
Yeah, it shows it working and stuff.
Okay, let's share this one.
That's the video that
See, it's just it's just a power hammer. It's just
that's so funny.
It sends a signal from the battery, and it just ding ding. The metal slug is in there with a spring, and it's just ding 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 and chips away. He's literally chipped away his concrete floor and shit doing it.
Yeah, that's funny. I could imagine doing that in my garage or something, and my wife fucking losing her shit.
He chiseled out this stone bowl and everything that he made fucking like this fucking outdoor faucet with and shit. Like you can go and get an outdoor bubbler with this machine right here.
Cool.
Oh, yeah. I could send him pictures of that too.
I need one of these, man. I want him to make me one.
He will. It's not. He makes a mini one that comes in a box and stuff like that that you can actually use, and it will actually power stuff and everything if you hook up power to and stuff. It's smaller than this. He'll make it for you. I'll put you in touch with him.
I probably wouldn't know what to do with it, but the geek in me is like, wow, I could figure something out for this machine. And here we have another version, another look at this. Oh, I have to mute this because of this. He's got a copyrighted song playing in the background. Fucking copyright strikes. There's YouTube algorithm AI gods always know. Play like 3 seconds of some song.
So yeah, that's it. That's
definitely
what it does.
Definitely,
and that thing will keep on spinning, and it will send power out as long as the batteries have power. Ed would charge it up. He had an old pickup truck, and he would run that
relay thing.
And because the batteries all in parallel and banked together and stuff, he would charge the batteries all together with his pickup truck, and then he would shut his truck off and stuff, and he'd start up this thing, and it would just run all night.
Oh, this is pretty interesting. And interesting that somebody would go to the lengths that this gentleman has gone to recreate this stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If everybody wants to go and check out his YouTube channel later on, he has video where that thing is spinning and running and just hitting the slug for hours.
Yeah, you know what I'm thinking? When I'm thinking about that, I was thinking about that big saw and the actuator. Boy, if I could hook that up on a log, I could make some slabs and just let it run 24/7. Who cares, you know? Because it takes, dude, I got a chainsaw mill thing, and you know, oh, you can make your own shelves and lumber and live slabs, but it takes like a fucking hour and a half to get through a 6-foot log or so, you know, with a chainsaw running at full bore. It's because it's not meant to cut that way.
Well,
but something like this if you just set it up and let it go.
Well, no, they actually have machines nowadays for milling logs and stuff.
Yeah, they have big band saws, but they're way out of my league.
Scott actually had that all up in
$3,000. Yeah, I would love to have that.
He had that stuff, so yeah, he had all.
Well, I don't know. For me, it's like I just made some shelves and shit, so whatever. But after I made a couple shelves, I was like, yeah, that's
back in Ed's time. This is you know, that was like innovative and stuff. He took like these new machines that are coming out, and he's like this, and he put all these together and was able to do all this shit all by himself.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And it's amazing that you went that deep down the rabbit hole to figure this stuff out.
Well, yeah, when I first heard about, because I lived in Florida, I never actually been there and stuff, but I heard about it, and I was supposed to go there, and I just never got to go there when I was living in Florida, and I was always fascinated by it, and because the stories that are behind it and stuff, and eventually I finally got to really dig into it, and I stumbled across Scott here, and I was like, holy shit. I was like, there it is. That's the fucking answer. Because I was like, there's no way that he was levitating all this shit and doing all this other stuff. I'm like, yeah, it sounds fucking great and shit like that. But I'm like, it's not fucking real. I was like, look at that.
Wasn't this funny, though? Is like the way that this legend
I knew that machine was some type of an electronic machine that was doing something that wasn't levitation and fucking magical fucking powers and shit like that. I'm just not electrical engineer like Scott is and stuff like that I just didn't know exactly what it was and how it worked from looking at the old thing. Because what you see in the pictures of Coral Castle and stuff, that's like doesn't have everything on it. Most of the pieces for it are hanging on the wall. Okay, so that's just what you see there is the wheel and just some of the things attached to it. It's not all the pieces there. So people like, oh, how's this working stuff? So when Scott saw that, he's like, I know that. And he saw the pieces on the wall. And he's like, if you put those pieces on that, he's like, I know what that is. I know what that will do. He's like, I can build this. And he built this up in Vermont and he melted the replica. And that's what it is. And it's like I said, if you look on the wall in Coral Castle, they have his tools and these little things that he made and stuff. They're pieces for this, depending on what he was doing at the time. He would just, okay, I need to do the sauce. So that required a different one maybe because it sends a different signal and stuff like that. So he could switch out these parts on that. But because it wasn't all together and stuff, most people looking at it were like, huh, what? You know what I mean? What do you got a glass bottle hanging over here on the wall with copper wire wrapped around it for? You know what I mean? All these fucking woo-woo new age
weird shit. Yeah,
like, oh, copper, that means they're levitating. You know what I mean?
They got the crystals out. Yeah. They did it with the crystals, bro.
Copper and glass. Oh my God. What are we going to do? It's magical. So they couldn't put it together. But Scott being him and so ingrained into all this fucking electronical technology and stuff. And he's an older guy. I mean, he's almost 70 now, right? He's in his 70s and stuff. You know what I mean? He was working on nuclear subs back when he was a fucking teen in his 20s and shit. Fucking 20 years on a sub, and then he was still in there after that and stuff. Long fucking time that he was doing it. And so he knew once he saw that and he saw the pieces on, he started to put the puzzle together and he figured it all out. Like I said, you saw him with the wheelbarrow in the video there. He could see from just the little picture. That's it. He's never been to Coral Castle. He's only looked at pictures of this stuff. He could just see from the picture how he made the wheelbarrow, and he made one just like it.
That's so funny, yeah. And it's funny to put that. It's funny to put that level of like time and energy into recreating that stuff.
All the pictures, and he knew about the video. He saw the videos and stuff of the tripod, so he figured all that stuff out, and he knew how to recreate that stuff, the pulleys and block and tackle, come-alongs, and he figured it all out. And so I got in touch with Scott. We went up there we've been up there a few times now and stuff to hang out with him and stuff, watch the thing working.
Done some journeys up there.
Eating some mushrooms, gone looking for Bigfoot. Fucking, we were up there. What was it? It was either, I think it was the Leonid.
That would be cool if you were in Coral Castle and there was a Bigfoot, because then that would be like there must be an interdimensional portal or something.
he wants to actually build like Coral Castle 2, like or whatever. He has a giant fucking vein of quartz and granite and stuff going through his property that he wants to fucking do eventually and make some kind of thing up there on his property. But it's because it's granite, it's not fucking cutting that soft ass quartz.
Yeah, he's gonna have to figure out some diamond saws or some shit.
He's like, that's just a way bigger project. He's like, if I had some of that stuff, he's like, this thing I would get it done in no time. But because it's that, he's only done small little projects. Like I said, he made like this bowl thing with a little fountain you can get a drink at and shit, and other little things and stuff. But to build the whole thing like that out of actual granite and quartz and stuff is going to be some work. But he can do it. He's had the saw set up and everything, and it will cut granite. He can cut granite.
Yeah, but I don't know how you even move. Like I have some big fucking boulder rocks in my yard here that I got to figure out how to get rid of. I'm like. Yeah, maybe. I think we're gonna try a bobcat. No, I think we're gonna try a bobcat first. I think
there you go. Well,
bobcat tumble it down the hill or something, into the woods.
There was some used rocks on his property.
Yeah, he showed us some rocks that he moved up on his property with this thing. They had to be at least 5 tons.
Wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And he's got that YouTube channel. There's more than just a few videos of him with all this stuff, right?
He's got some other videos of him doing some other stuff that he's made. Actually, I think it's got his water wheel thing that he's made on there and everything. Some other stuff that he's messed around that are kind of similar ideas on what Ed did with the magnets and stuff like that, and making machines and things like that to do other things. Yeah, his property's crazy. He's got a couple, like he's got his cabin that he lives on. And then he's got like this other little tree house thing, and he got all kinds of stuff up there, man. It's crazy.
That sounds like my kind of crazy place, because I'm trying to build my own kind of crazy place right now.
Castle yet? He knows all the stuff that Ed knows and how to do all that stuff too, because he grew up in Vermont and everything, and his parents did all that logging, and they cleared out all the stuff up there. His family lived in the whole area all around there, like it's basically their own little town.
Yeah, that's interesting. I wish I had more land, because I could build a cordwood castle here. Once you figure out this cordwood shit, and it's just like, wait, you mean I could just cut logs and slap together like towers with some cement and logs and stuff? Like, you could build anything out of that shit.
Yeah.
But I'm running out of space. We like to keep as much woods as we can,
Yeah.
And resources too. Like, when I first got here, there were so many rocks. I built like this big stone shower and a big stone floor, and I'm struggling to find enough to build the next floor out of. Or the easy ones are gone, and now I got to go digging and stuff, before you just walk around picking them up and carrying them over, Yeah, that's crazy. So what have you guys been up to on your show recently, and what do you have coming up?
We've just been trying not to step in shit, avoiding shit.
Yeah.
All the shit.
Yeah, I noticed the theme.
Yeah. It just became the theme for most of 2020. So we're just going to ride it out to the end of the year with that theme. And then maybe in 2021, we'll see what happens. Maybe we'll change like vomit or something. Who knows?
Yeah, absolutely.
Could become anything. Maybe it would be the opposite. Maybe it'd be like, puppies and unicorns and rainbows and shit.
Just so much shit everywhere. I mean, look, it's fucking almost 100 years later after Ed Leedskalnin built Coral Castle, and there's still fucking idiots on the internet telling people that fucking he used magic and shit to do it. When there's actually
no. I've never heard anybody say he used magic. No, Smoke King, you're wrong.
I've never. It's not magic.
He used lost Atlantean technology, lost Egyptian technology and maybe alien technology. Yeah.
All right. I didn't mean to throw out magic there. I didn't mean to offend you with the word magic. But
magic.
And the same internet has the video that shows how he did it for the same amount of time. Okay. So all these people out here are believing that this dude used some type of fucking technology from fucking aliens or whatever it is, some hooey fucking whatever. He's levitating stones by humming and fucking bumming a bimbo. Who knows? And there's actual video that shows him lifting the fucking stones up, sliding them on the logs, putting them into place.
No, but those were edited. See, what happened was somebody got CGI back then, and they went and recreated those videos to throw you off from the real technology he was using, because they took that technology and the government is suppressing it, and they don't want you to know what Ed was really doing. But ask all those kids who were looking over the hedges and watching him do that levitate
See,
stuff.
I found that old video too before I had found Scott. Once I saw that video, I was like, okay, that explains a lot of it and stuff. I says, but what is that fucking wheel and shit? And I was still hunting the mystery of this wheel. I was like, there's got to be something here with this fucking wheel and everything like that. Because I saw it. I was like, oh, that explains it. He had pulleys. He could pull it up. Fucking, yep, I get it. Tripods. When my dad was building his house and we were moving stones and logs around the fucking thing, we made a tripod.
Yeah, that's the reason why actually I knew, like, typical log cabin construction, you got to lift these logs up. And I was just like, when I saw the weight of some of the stuff that I'd be using, tripod. I was like, I could have now that I, think about it. But I used this cordwood masonry because one guy by himself can just do it. You don't need a good way too. So yeah, so I
saw that and I was like, this old video that explains how he moved it and stuff. He lifted up with the tripods and the pulleys and stuff. And I said, but what is this wheel? And it took me a while, but I found Scott. And once I found Scott, that put all the pieces together and everything and solved the whole mystery of Coral Castle. It's not really that big of a mystery and stuff. If you actually research and take your time and do what researchers do and go through everything, and like just the Coral Castle website, like I said, if you go through that whole website, it gives everything away on the website, pretty much.
Well, you got to imagine
if you order the book from them that they sell.
Is that his family that owns that now, or
no,
did
somebody else? It was
somebody else bought it.
He didn't
right?
have any family or anything. Somebody else bought it, and then somebody else bought it, and it's been in their family now, I guess, and stuff, and they run it.
And it just became it just becomes a good tourist attraction because people pay $10 to come and look at it. Yeah.
I think they do charge money now. Yeah, it was free to go there for years, the longest fucking time, but I think they do actually charge money to get in there now. I'm not sure about that part, but I know it was free. And
I don't blame him. If I had that, if I owned that thing, I would double the rates. And I would double the woo and the hype about it.
Well, that definitely was going on for the longest time. I mean, the legend took on its own legend. I mean, people create shit out of thin air too. So.
Yeah, isn't that interesting too? How this legend was formed and then grew, right?
Yep.
It grew with each generation, and people tacked on or added on to it.
Well, it's like anything else, Stephen. The idea that this one little man who no one could understand, his brilliance came from what he already knew, what his family was doing for a long time. He was Fred Sanford. That's what he was, and took those random parts and put stuff together. And people don't want to ever give credit to human beings. That's where he got all this
stuff out of junkyards.
Exactly. He was
Fred Sanford. Yeah. They don't give people enough credit. Oh, we couldn't have built those. Yeah, we couldn't have built those pyramids. It must have been. That's half of ancient alien theory is. Men are retarded, and monkeys, and our primitive monkey minds couldn't have done this. There's no way we would have had to have help.
Ancient alien theory, discrediting the fucking great accomplishments of humans for fucking decades now.
yeah. I always thought it was funny that it was on the History Channel too.
It's not even just ancient alien theory, fucking lost technology, fucking theory and shit, and fucking or any theory that fucking. Powers are being used and stuff like that to do any of this stuff from aliens or whatever it may be, or somebody can levitate and do this stuff is completely just a slap in the face to the ancient fucking people and cultures of our planet and of humanity and stuff like that. Look at the great things that they were able to do with the little bit they had. Yes, that was advanced technology for them, what they used. Okay, rocks, stone hammers, fucking, once they got copper chisels and stuff like that and metal tools and whatever, that was advanced technology. That's how the pyramids were built. That was advanced technology from them. They went from a rock hammer to a fucking copper chisel and copper saws and stuff like that. Well, that's advanced technology.
People forget man had to find fire. They didn't even know what fire was. We find that
advanced technology all over Egypt. What we don't find is the advanced technology that all these people think and say was built. Oh, they used laser beams and they used diamond saw blades and all this stuff and drill bits and everything. Well, where's the evidence of that stuff? Diamond saw blades are going to last a long fucking time. They're going to last just as long as this cheap-ass copper chisel. Where is it?
They've never found any evidence of these. It's just theories.
They were thorough. They were anal aliens who didn't want to leave any technology behind. But we have the evidence to
support the theory that it was built by people with tools of the time, because there's evidence of that.
Wow.
Yeah, I like some of those recreations that bust some of these pyramid myths too. Like people get together and 10 of them will move a 10-ton block, with rollers and pulleys and levers,
There's a guy in Michigan. You can look him up on YouTube. Michigan guy moves fucking 10-ton stone. He moves a 10-ton stone by himself. He fucking pries up one corner. He puts a pebble underneath it, and then the other corner, and he just moves this thing like this, dude. It's on a pebble, and I'm like, what the fuck is this dude doing?
Levitation.
It's not levitation or anything crazy like that. He just understands the principle of weight and fucking of engineering, physics and stuff like that, and how you do this shit. Another way that he moved the stone and put it set up like how they set up obelisks, they would fucking pivot it. They put it onto a thing and they put weight on this end and it would go bloop and stand the fuck up. And this guy, and he's not like, you know, like me and Jiggy, like a young dude. He's like an older guy, like a bigger, heavy set dude. And this dude's out there moving rocks and doing all this shit all by himself. He built Stonehenge by himself, like a replication of Stonehenge.
Really?
Yeah.
Has he got rocks that big?
Well, he made concrete pillars himself and stuff, and then he moved them so he knows exactly how much they weigh and stuff instead of guesstimating and whatever. He owned a construction company. He's like, I could do this without all this equipment.
He did it.
That's pretty interesting.
There's people like that all over that do all kinds of stuff. Like I said, but my father used a small, it wasn't a big, huge one like the one that Scott had and stuff, but we used a tripod to move stuff and move certain things on the property when he was doing it because he cleared the whole thing by himself without heavy machinery.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like, I've seen those like tripod engine pulling things, and if they can pull an engine out with one of a tripod kind of thing,
Yeah. It's all, it's just human ingenuity and stuff, and the way that they like to say, like, again, pyramids are a big subject, but the way a lot of these stone structures and stuff were built back in the day, that's, again, it's stacking stones.
Yeah, it's not rocket science. It's cutting and stacking stones.
And people like, it must have had some kind of technology. I'm like, I stacked fucking blocks when I was fucking 6 months old. I'm like,
yeah.
With my bottle, you know what I mean? That's what kids start doing. What's the first thing you do when you get blocks? You make a fucking pyramid. So as these people did, but once they figured out, because they had all this, they're like, oh wow, we could do this, and we could make something big. But then they started to figure out, oh, we make it small and we could support it and we could do this, and they found woodworking, and then you could see the progression of how we went from what the pyramids were to where we are today with real technology. You know what I mean? You can see all that through history. It's tracked. It's proven. You can find the fucking remnants of it and shit all over the fucking world. And yeah, people are like, no, aliens came here. The pyramids, that's a landing beacon so they could find their way back here. I'm like, they're aliens flying through fucking space. They don't need a fucking beacon to find.
Yeah, I love some of this stuff. Or the Nazca lines,
They can fly from across the fucking galaxy and find Earth. I think they can fly around Earth and find Egypt again. They don't need to put up a fucking pyramid. Oh, they tethered their spaceship to the top. I'm like, they tethered their spaceship to the top? What is it, the fucking Hindenburg?
Yeah, a lot of these theories just don't make any sense whatsoever. And when you the deeper you get into them, the more you're like, these people are fucking retarded.
Once you just start thinking logically, rationally, and critically, you're like, wait, what? Wait, hold on. You just completely fucking lost me. So they built the pyramid and it was flat on top so the spaceship could land in a special place for this. Okay. Right.
Well, you don't know. Maybe that was some kind of docking bay, like the keystone at the top, right?
Right. They refueled. That was a refueling point.
Yeah.
The very tip of the top had a little.
Yeah, because all the energy, because the
I'm sure that I've heard the pyramids were a power plant.
Yeah, it's a power plant.
And I've heard even a theory that it was a grain elevator, like a grain
silo. Yeah, they said they kept grain in one. Yeah, grain silos, pretty much inside of them. Yeah.
It doesn't align with, well, it does kind of now, but when the pyramids were built and stuff with Orion's belt and all that, it didn't look that way. It wasn't aligned to anything. That's the crazy shit about all that. It does now, which is really crazy because it lines up with some stuff now. If you want to say it lines up, it kind of fits. But it doesn't really truly line up with any of these things. It just seems like they do. But back in the day, these things weren't in those stars weren't in those positions fucking 3,000 years ago. Or fucking, you know what I mean, 6,000 years ago. And people forget that. And they're like, oh, they built it for the fucking Orion and the Pleiades, whatever the fuck it is. Because that's where the aliens came from. I'm like,
Absolutely.
Because again, once you know about real astronomy, not astrology, astronomy and stuff, and positions of the stars and how they move through the sky and stuff over time and stuff, those stars were in those positions and stuff. We can actually go back and see where those stars were and everything. And the stars that make up Orion did not make up Orion's belt back then.
Well, it was a future marker, so when Orion's belt did
line up, because they were future aliens.
Right, they will come from Orion, and that's going to show them. It's going to light the path for them to get here.
I forgot.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Aliens.
That makes more sense.
Went back to Egypt. They're like, "Yo, we need to know how to get back here in the future, so you got to build us something."
See, it's like
yeah,
today, great grand alien kids to come find Earth later, and it was like, "Yo, you're gonna go on a treasure hunt, and Earth is part of that treasure hunt." See, that's
yeah, that makes total sense.
So all these mysteries again, like the Coral Castro mystery. Once you do the research and stuff and you put your biased beliefs and stuff, because I want to believe that fucking aliens built this shit too. That'd be fucking great. You know what I mean? That'd be fucking awesome.
Amazing.
You know what's fucking amazing and great too? That human beings did this shit. So that's great too. So I could put aside the fact that I would like it to be aliens. That would be cool if it was aliens and everything.
Yeah,
aliens were coming here, but you know what I mean? But the facts and the evidence when you do the actual research, because if you just type into Google, how were the pyramids built? You know, aliens fucking built the pyramids. All this crazy stuff pops up on top and everything. You got to really talk to archaeologists and shit, actual Egyptologists and everything like that. Go to fucking do actual study these books and stuff like that.
Astrophysicists, everything you
can think of. And actual again, it's real research. People just watching videos on YouTube and clicking the first 2 or 3 links on fucking Google.
Right, click researching doesn't get you very far. No.
Okay, if you are clicking those links on Google, you need to research that link you just fucking read. Who wrote this? Who runs this website? Where did this information come from? This is not it. You know what I mean? You need to research all of that shit. You need to research both sides. Who's this Egyptologist? Who's this fucking archaeologist?
No, I love people that think something's true just because it was published on a website, too. You know, you really got to look at the source because there's so many bullshit sources out there that will post anything for clicks and links.
Best-selling Time author book. Underneath their name.
Hey, you watch it now, buddy. Don't go there.
And I'm not just him, because Graham Hancock over here and his fucking theories and everything like that. Dude, you're a writer. You're a novelist. Most of his work isn't even in this subject. He writes stories and stuff, and that's where he gets these fantastical ideas. And the other thing is, I don't know if nobody's ever told him this, but everything that he comes up with, it's because he's on fucking drugs.
Well, after I took those psilocybin mushrooms, I decided that the history of man has been told all wrong. And I've got the truth about the origins of man.
You got to believe this stuff. And he just throws all these people. Because they just want to be it. And then they know that nobody's going to actually take the time to do this stuff and look into this stuff and see that, wait a minute, an actual real archaeologist has been here, or real Egyptologist, or real whoever studies the stuff down in you know, the Mayan culture and everything. I forget what they call them. Wherever it is.
Mayan.
And those people who've been doing this for 20, 30 fucking years, and they went to school for fucking 10 years and everything like that. And you find out, oh, wait a minute, why am I listening to this guy? Because he's got a New York Times best-selling fucking book. When these guys over here actually on the ground, they have actual evidence. This guy's just postulating something that he thought up of when he was fucking taking ayahuasca.
Well, you do have to admit this, though. Like, if you read like scholarly articles about this stuff, it's boring as shit. The scholarly articles by real scientists are boring as shit. And so some of these guys have come in and they give you a simplified, sounds great explanation for shit based on nothing like science, but it's easier to digest. It sounds good. It's a good story. So I think that's where they find success. These science types that write these scholarly articles got to write better, because scholarly articles like college thesis papers and stuff that people have written on like origins of man and stuff, it's boring as shit.
It's long as shit too, and it takes a long time to read it, and that's why their attention span, they're like, I want to get through a 3-minute fucking 10-minute video on YouTube and click to the next one. You know what I mean? They can't sit there. They're like, oh, I'm just going to listen to this guy because he's got 300 followers and everybody likes this video. So, he must be telling me the truth.
They're not listening to the archaeologists who have actually spent the time to excavate the land and do it properly and show you what the stuff is there. They don't know what they're talking about. I mean, these are the people who've been doing this forever and been all over the world doing it. They don't know nothing. They don't know.
Yeah, one of my favorites of these fake rewriting history things is this Bosnian pyramid, which is a joke.
Antarctica pyramid.
It's a big fucking hill, you dummy. It's a big fucking hill. That's what it is. But they're digging and, swearing it was a pyramid and it was a man-made structure.
Yeah, no, there's actually, it's not a pyramid. It's a form of it's a form of lake bed. Then through time and stuff, it's upheaved into fucking mountains and stuff. That's why it has the layers and stuff the way that they are. And there's examples of this all over the world.
Yeah, most geologists that have looked at it said, no, that's a natural structure.
Exactly. Actual geologists and archaeologists and stuff have been there and stuff, and there's nothing to it. And the tunnels that they're digging, they're actually just digging these tunnels out themselves. You could just make tunnels anywhere down there, I guess they say. People have been there and looked into the air and stuff. There is underground rivers and stuff, so a lot of it, they're just tapping into some of these old underground rivers and stuff that are old channels off of them and stuff. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's just like, so there's evidence of that archaeologically and geologically all over the world. It's just like people saying that there's pyramids in Antarctica because they see a mountain that has somewhat of a pyramid shape. But they don't say that the Matterhorn is a fucking pyramid built by aliens, even though that's a fucking perfect pyramid at the top of fucking that mountain.
Absolutely,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's other mountains and other structures around the world that people don't ever bring up, even though they look more like pyramids and perfect pyramids compared to the ones in Antarctica. But because Antarctica is Antarctica and nobody can fucking go there. You can go there, but most people don't want to go there. You know what I mean? To find out and show this stuff. That's why they do that. And people go to the Matterhorn all the time, and there's tons and tons of really close-up pictures of it. So the people are like, oh, we can't say that's a pyramid. But we can say this snow cover thing here that you can't really tell is.
Actually, we have a friend whose niece is little guy's niece is in Antarctica right now doing research. So I asked her to look out for the wall and for the hole that Admiral Byrd went down and see if she can see the pyramids or anything that's supposed to be there. So we might get some inside information.
And you know what? These are all crazy rabbit holes in and of themselves. And we saw tonight a perfect example of somebody crazy enough like Smoke King and Jiggy to go down the whole fucking rabbit hole and get the whole deal of what's the reality. And that's a lot of time, energy, and
this rabbit hole is partly was created by Ed himself. He told people this stuff, even though he told people that a lot of people had neighbors all around him and stuff knew what he was doing, and he told them and stuff like that. But visitors that came there and stuff would be like, "Oh my God, this place is amazing!" But like, yeah, I used the powers of the Egyptians and stuff, and he fed it into the lore and everything like that. And he created the myth and everything of this. So people would have fun and stuff like that. That was it. But some of these other myths and stuff like that, when you try and track it down, it's not as fun as this one. You're like, why would somebody even come up with this stuff? And you figure out who it was. It was some dude on his fucking computer in his fucking mom's basement. We saw one thing on the internet over here and another thing on the internet over here. I was like, oh wow, these two things are wow, and they join with all this, and then here you go, and you're like, what the fuck? Where some of these stories come from? It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, listen, I think that we're gonna sort of wrap things up here. I have to get up at like 5:30 tomorrow. I have to try to it fucking gets dark here at like 4:45 now. So I have to get up butt crack early to kind of maximize. I'm still working outside on this sunroom thing. So I'm trying to get that fucker buttoned up before it's like 1 or 2 more weeks and we're going to be in you don't want to be outside at all.
Good stuff.
Try not to freeze to death. It's going down to 20 something tonight.
Enjoy.
Well, it's been a mild winter for here in the mountains so far. We had one real cold night where it was 10 so far this year. And the rest of the time it's 40 at night and 50 in the day. So it's not too bad, but that blast is coming in and I got to get that fucking thing over there done.
Good luck.
Yeah, there you go. Well, get done. I can't.
But I want to thank you for doing this rabbit hole, because when you started telling me about all this stuff, It was like you cracked the code, and I don't have to fucking do this. So thanks to you guys for going down this entire rabbit hole and summarizing it all beautifully. So now I don't have to.
Again, check out the other videos on Scott's channel. Made by One Man is his channel. He has a bunch of videos explaining all of this stuff, and he actually could do hours and hours more and stuff. There's so much more and stuff, like it's just insane. You can't get it all into YouTube videos and stuff like that, and to explain how all this stuff is. But he does a good job getting it down into like 30-minute videos.
Yeah, absolutely.
So check out his videos, everybody.
And make sure that you guys, if you haven't already, subscribe to Paranormal Hood. It's every Thursday at 8 p.m., right? Are you guys still doing
Paranormal Hood Live Radio?
8 o'clock.
8 p.m. It's always a fun time. I'm going to play an outro bumper here to play us out. Stand by, guys. 1 second.